All right, welcome everybody. I'm Texas Bill Pace. We're glad to have David Roberts with us tonight. He's a underwriter for residential, multifamily, RV parks, multi and mobile home parks. Hello, David.
Hi, glad to be here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, um, man, I've been doing underwriting for a little over a year now. I know Jesse likes to say I eat, sleep, and breathe underwriting, which is funny to me, but I do enjoy it. It's a skill that has taken time to grow for me. It's something that I enjoy with the math and making sure that properties work or don't work. Um, I like being able to see the big picture and find the little pieces and make sure that all the stuff works together. That if somebody's got a vision of, hey, I want to buy an RV park. Okay, cool. Will it cash flow? Does it make sense for it to be something that's a long-term investment? Do you even have the money to, what kind of structure can we do? All of that. So I enjoy doing that. I like it simply because I like math and I like solving big puzzles. So it's not something I thought I would be doing when I got into real estate, but it has been a natural fit with my skill sets. I like seeing the big picture and then being able to find the broken pieces and then fix them to make stuff work. Plus, I like to say that numbers don't lie, people do. Uh, so uh, yeah, you can't get around a spreadsheet that says you're making 10 grand a year and you tell me that no, we're actually making 100 grand a year. That's just not how it works. So I like doing all those things. There's a lot of certainty that can come out, and there's a lot of art and nuance too, because depending on how you want to do structures for long-term or short-term gain or refi something or value adds to properties, all of that kind of thing. So yeah, glad to be here.
It takes a good head on your shoulders to piece it all together too, so that you have all the right pieces and parts to put those parts together. So you got to you got to know what you're doing a little bit to do that. So hopefully people will learn a little bit what we're doing, so that they
Yeah.
can do better underwriting, or at least know who to call if they need somebody, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you got problems with something that bumps in the night, you call Ghostbusters. You got something wrong with your property, you need to underwrite it, you can call me.
There you go. You'll kind of explain a little bit about what you're doing, and then you can bring it up on your share the screen, and then kind of walk us through how we'd go from like a Craigslist listing to a buy.
Sweet. Quick. This was actually a park team I was a part of earlier this year, was looking at. So I will go ahead and share. Are you seeing this screen right here?
I see Henderson RV Park.
Perfect. That's what I want you to see. Um, yeah, so Henderson RV Park, it's in Henderson, Texas by name. Um, so it was a 40 pad RV park on 10 acres. It was pretty close to the state highway. City water and septic, on-site property manager, on-site laundry and shower, and looks like it has good occupancy. Um, so it's when you're doing a commercial property in general, but really with RV parks, they should come typically, like if they come through a brokerage at least, they'll come with what's called an offering memorandum or just an OM. Um, that's a great place to start. I would never take an OM as gospel truth, as this is what's actually happening with the numbers, because brokers are humans
Feel like they
too.
might stretch it a little bit there.
Yes,
They're trying to sell it
they
like a used car. They want to get it sold. So you got to be careful with that.
exactly. Yeah, that little clicking noise is nothing. Um, no, that's actually your catalytic converter going out. Yeah, no, so with OMs, they're meant to paint kind of the prettiest picture of what the park could look like. Um, Some of it is, yes, there might be some actually like blatant lying. It also might just be kind of putting lipstick on a pig, potentially, depending on how they want to go about it. And it's sometimes you're looking at it going, well, maybe this park is actually underperforming. The numbers say it's one thing, but I think we could actually make it be, you know, way better. So any numbers that I get like this, whether it's the acreage, if it says it's on city water, the pads, it also it says there's room for expansion. All of that is stuff you have to confirm with the seller. Never take it for granted. Getting a phone number, a name, all of that of the on-site property manager is important when you're doing your underwriting because it's something to where I'm getting a little ahead of myself, but uh, that's a piece right there that I think people miss when they're looking for properties like this, particularly because like an RV park, I mean, we could talk about underwriting on, just about anything, but RV parks or multifamily or a mobile home park, when you have a property manager that's actually on site living at the facility, somebody that people interact with constantly, that person ends up becoming the face of your property. So even if the numbers look really good, you also need to have good relationship, good um, brand front facing from somebody who's going to be the person they talk to on the phone, the person that they see when they show up, the person that at 2 o'clock in the morning, if somehow the power goes out at your stall, that they know who to talk to and that you're actually going to be responsive. So as you're thinking through, let's say all the numbers work great, and then you're okay, now I need to go figure out some of the mechanics of how the property work. A property manager can make or break, I think, how you operate. We actually looked at a different park with a property manager who told my partners directly, I do not account for the money that comes from vending machines or laundry or the store because I just use it to buy toilet paper and office supplies. Well, that still has to be on a profit and loss statement. That still has to be accounted for. You can say, hey, here's the profits from these avenues, and then here's the loss by the expense of what we use it for. You still have to account for it. But it's just funny because she didn't think it was important because she buys toilet paper. Um, people are
She might be
silly.
buying something else too, though. I mean, she might be paying her car payment out of it too. Who knows? If she's not
You
writing it
know,
down, you don't know what they're doing.
yeah, I wouldn't put it past her, and
You
not
write
just
it
her
down, you got these
particularly.
constant numbers all the time, and all of a sudden, 3 months it went lower or something. Like, what happened here?
Hmm.
So by recording it, they know what they're doing, maybe.
You see that new Acura in the parking lot, and you think, how are you paying for that?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but so what I do, okay, here, what I do when I first get a property, so I'll look at something like this. I see some of the basics of, okay, they've got on-site laundry. I want to make sure that I take a mental note of that because that is a revenue stream. It's a small one potentially, but it's still a revenue stream and it's something that can make you different than other facilities. A shower is also something that can make you different than other facilities. Um, Seeing a 92% occupancy average is good. Actually, 92% is quite good. You'd love to be at 100%, but anywhere between 90 and 100 is really healthy. Um, that being said, the last 6 months doesn't mean a lot. You really want the last year to 2 years seeing occupancy rates because you want to go through the different cycles of the year. So you want to see summer months, you want to see winter, you want to see um,
See if it's
maybe there's a
seasonal or not. Yeah.
yeah, see, is it seasonal? Is there a special event that's happened that caused it to jump and then, oh, it's not happening this year? All that. Um, And then the
You're
net
saying that you like it to have it 100%, but is that like multifamily where you if you have it like 100%, then they're saying that your rates are too low, maybe or something. So there,
possible.
that's a theory I've heard before too. Is that if you have too high of an occupancy, then your rates are not where they should be.
That's possible. It's a little bit less than like multifamily just because there's such a high demand for multifamily that um, you can price yourself into different brackets in the market with a multifamily. That's a little different than like an RV park, depending on the location. So, like this one, for instance, is the only RV park I think within like a 15 or 20 square miles. So, I'm not going to go jacking up, I could jack up the
Right.
rates because we're the only one, but I would rather the higher occupancy rate to make sure that we stay
Right.
at a consistent level. So,
If you're the only one there, yeah, I guess. But I was just that's just a theory I'd heard before.
no, and you're not wrong. There's definitely merit to that, more so in the multifamily space. Um, I think you're right. And then you've got an NOI here. They say their NOI was 37 grand. So I will ask then when I see these numbers that there's an asking, okay, now I know the asking price was 875. They didn't want to do owner financing. Like I said, this was a park that we had already looked at. I spoke with the owner and he was less than helpful, I will say. Um, there were some amenities. You had free Wi-Fi. There was some stuff for the kids, laundry, like I said. Um, it was a pretty park. If I can pull up is this the picture I want? Yeah. So looking at this, right, they said in their numbers there that there was 40 pads plus room for expansion. There is a ton of room for expansion. You've got pads here and then pads up in this top left corner, but this whole field here was available for
Yeah, it's
new
like
pads or
50%. Yeah,
say it again?
that's like 40 or 50% of them still open. Yeah,
Yep. Yep. So you've got, yeah, I mean, it was, let's say we'll say three out of the or even four out of the 11 almost 11 acres is available for pads or for storage containers, whatever's going to be the most um, beneficial for the demand in the area. So I run then through, I mean, finding out, you want to find out what kind of power is at each station, because then that can also differ on how much you charge. They had their nightly, weekly, and monthly charges. That includes then whether it's a full hookup, electric, water, sewer, trash, all that. From here, this all looks good. It's clean, it's easy. Then what I would do next is I will go to the seller unless this is already given by a broker, and we would ask for 2 years T12, so they're trailing 12 months, but really want 2 years worth to see what their income and expenses look like. I would ask for their rent rolls so that there's at least an accurate current of who's actually staying on the property, whether that is, and it depends too, if it's a transitional park, are people there for, a couple of days, or is this a more permanent resident park? It really varies. Um, and we not quite to the place of asking for taxes or um, sewer bills or anything of that nature that shows their contracts with maybe outside workers or anything like that. I just really want to see what do your expenses look like, what does the income look like, and then that having a picture, actually an aerial picture, very helpful because then we can see what type of value adds to do to the property. Um, so this property ended up being something for us. We passed on it only because the seller was very difficult. The property itself was nice. And the info, let's see if I can. Nope, I don't have it over here. Is this what I'm looking for? It is
Let him sit on it another year. He'll be a little nicer next year, maybe.
maybe, yeah.
You never
Now,
know.
maybe you never know. It took a while, honestly, just to even get his LLC information. I had to actually go like search the county records to figure it out because he's like, I don't know what else LLC I own it in. Well, okay, come on, man. You can't tell me that you own that many properties. But
Trying to sell it.
interestingly
You ought to know
enough,
the basics. Yeah.
say that again.
He's trying to sell. At least he ought to know the basics. You know
You would
what he's
think
paying
so.
for it and where he got it named at. Yeah.
You would think so. But if you look even here, okay, 80, this is, see, this is why, like, when people give numbers, I don't believe them. Because you've got here 92% over the last 6 months with an NOI of 37,000. But that's as of June 1st. Okay. But then you have 87% over the last 10 months with an NOI of almost 44,000 as of July 1st. People are not consistent with their numbers. They're not consistent of what they're telling you. So you have to be careful. And even this like the projected NOI looks really good because if I'm buying a park for 875 and my NOI is 92,000, then I've got an over 10% cap rate. And that's really the baseline is 10% of where I want to be. Before I go do any value adds to the property, a 10% cap rate is, I don't really want to look at stuff lower than that. If it's a 9 or 8.5, maybe because then we can try to negotiate down the price. But
Could you give
it's
us
interest.
a quick understanding of what cap rate is for the people who don't have that?
Yes, absolutely. It's easy for me. Thank you for stopping me. It's easy for me to just start rattling off terms. Cap rate is the purchase price. Well, it's actually it's your net operating income, right? So this is a net operating income in this case. It'll be different for us because we would go get financing and we would have to have money to be able to pay for the note, right, on the property. But at this point in time, it's your net operating income, so it's your gross minus all the expenses to run the park. Then you take that, you would take this 92.4 and divide it by 875. And that gives you your cap rate, which is essentially then you are netting each year 10% or almost 11% of what the actual purchase price was. Um, Now, the value of the property will increase, right, as real estate increases in value. Um, you can add things to the property. Let's say um, let's say in this 3 or 4 acres here, we added another 30 pads. Well, now we have a 70 pad RV park that we could be making after all expenses, netting, let's say 140,000. Whoa, that's great. Now, if I take, 140 divided by 875, which 140 divided by 875 is 16% cap rate. Well, that's crazy. That, I mean, anybody will think, wow, that's really amazing. But what ends up happening then is as your net income starts growing, right, the value of the property is going to start growing. So your cap rate goes back down and it'll balance itself out. And you could even be at a place where uh let's say you're netting 140. Well, now maybe the property's worth 1.5, 1.6. So you're below a 10%, but you've increased the value so much that you can sell it for below a 10% cap right now. Now I can sell it at an 8 or an 8.5. Somebody else might be interested at that rate.
Hmm.
I'm not, but other investors might be willing to say, holy cow, this thing's netting 140 grand a year. we've got great financing options, or we've got, our own cash or whatever we want to do. Um, so
Well,
um, yeah,
thank
so that ends up being cap. Sorry, cap rate is kind of king when it comes to some of these the larger commercial assets, RV parks, mobile home parks, even with like multifamily, um, a solid multifamily cap rate is like 6%, whereas for RV parks, you really want to be at like 10%, um, and being able to push that as much as you can with value adds that don't cost a lot of money. So, last thing, I mean, I don't want to take too much of the time, but I'm talking about this without maybe some more questions can be asked, but I'll look at what are the market rates for RV pads and are we underpriced? Maybe they're charging 450 and they really should be charging 500. Can we add a playground for kids so that they actually have a place to play? Well, then that makes us more family oriented, and we could even then charge, let's say, $10 more a night because we have this new playground. Do we have a dog park? If we don't, then a dog park's super easy to put in, and then you charge $25 a night for somebody having a dog, or $10 a night for them having a dog or whatever, so that depending on the size of dog, even.
you.
Um, do we have propane? Oh my goodness, you can sell propane like crazy at an RV park, and it doesn't take up that
Just a,
much
just a general store
space.
where you're selling toiletries and drinks and ice.
Yeah, yep, a general store, having even then depending on the kind of the shape of your property too, you could have, let's say, a general store. So I'm pretty sure this is actually like this was the office with a store in it. But what if these people don't really want to have to go all the way down here, right? Is there space to put in like a snack shed that could have a couple of
Vending machines or
vending
something.
machines? Yep, that have snacks and or then toiletries, soap, shampoo, all that stuff that people will need.
Ice, things
Um,
like
Ice, having an ice machine is great. I mean, there's a litany of things that you can do that aren't just, hey, let's go put in 30 new pads in this open field. There's a bunch of little things you can do to make it so that your property then starts to be incrementally worth more and more attractive to potential customers. So all of that, I know underwriting people want to get down to like, okay, can I buy it or not? Yes, that's the point, but in the process of it, there's a lot of nuance in there of making sure with especially a larger asset like an RV park, what kind of things can I look at to make sure that these pieces are going to be something that's a part of what we're doing? Does it fit my buy box? Is it a property that's going to grow over time? Is it something that I can then see a positive future in and then do the numbers work? Then is it something where, yes, if I have to go get financing for the property and a private money lender, then my costs, right? So let's say they said that their NOI let's assume this is from July, or sorry, from January to July. So they're 7 months. This is here we go. We'll go projected NOI is 92.5, right? So 92.5 divided by 12, they're saying that they're going to average $7,700 a month in net income. Okay. But I have to go
okay.
get financing where I have to have lenders come in and I'm going to have monthly payments on my loans. So if my monthly payments can be less than that 7,700 and I can keep this property cash flowing before doing value adds, all right, that like now we're looking at I need tax returns, I need vendor contracts. I need all these other documents to make sure that this is something that we can actually then go through due diligence to see, yes, we're going to buy this park. Yes, we have a clear runway to financing it properly, making good money on it, and growing from there. So I'm sure I could talk more, but if there's any, questions or comments or anything else.
You have to check on, I know like in some mobile home parks, they check where they have, what kind of sewage you have, things like that too.
Yes. So like here, they say they have
City.
city water and septic. I want to see your contract with the city. I want to make sure that you're in good standing, and I want to know if we're going to go add to the facility, like if I'm going to go add 30 more pads, can it handle that?
Enough capacity to do it, right?
Exactly. And can the electrical grid handle that too? Because you could go add 30 pads and then, uh-oh,
Yeah.
now I have to go upgrade the entire electrical system, and that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars that you did not expect to spend. Um, and then, well, now you've shot yourself in the foot, and now you're not making any money. Now you just owe money. So,
Or you find a different way and still putting pads in, maybe put, glamping or tiny homes or tents or something. Something that
sure,
doesn't take as much power as sewage.
sure. And we looked at this area actually being for maybe some pads over here, but then this whole big section here to put in like shipping container self-storage that people could use. So you don't really need a lot of electricity, just enough to run, enough AC or whatever. Or maybe we wouldn't even have them temperature controlled. Um,
Out there, so, okay.
but you could drop in, 10 or 15 containers here and have two, maybe three storage units per container. So you're looking at anywhere from, I don't know, 20 to 60 units that you could have for they're small because a container's a 40 foot by what are they, 40 by 9? Um
8 foot wide.
or 8 foot, yeah, thank you. Um so they're not super big units, but it's at least a place for people to put their stuff. It's in a residential enough area that people could end up using that type of thing. So creative ways to use the land in order to make it something that is profitable for you and something that in the long term, 5 years, you say, well, our note is now due. Let's say we had seller financing or we want to go refi the property. Our note is coming due and we want to refi. Instead of refiing, we're just going to sell outright. Um, and now the property's, worth in 5 years, worth 2 million bucks, and we spent 875 on it. I don't know about you, but that's a pretty stinking good investment uh, to more than double your money, in a 5 year span. Not saying that that's exactly what's going to happen, but with doing some of the things that can make a property like this more interesting, you can quickly, quickly increase property value with simple amenities. So I know that's not
Over time, all your
spreadsheets.
rents go up, and not only the value go up, the value of everything you're on it, all your amenities and things are going to increase in price too because price goes up on everything.
Exactly. Yep.
Every year
Yep.
or two,
You can
you check the price a little bit more.
have a set increase of, I don't know, 25 bucks every 6 months or 25 bucks a year. And so it's just set in, you've got those increments that you know are going to happen, and the value of your land will increase and the value of the property as a whole because that type of business is going to grow. And that's one thing I think with RV parks that um, people also don't understand is you're not just buying a property. You're buying a business that runs on a property. And they conflate that with just like, oh, I'm just buying a house. No, you're buying a business that has operations and mechanics to it that you have to pay attention to, or you are going to overpay and lose lots of money. You can lose
You don't take
lots
care
of
of it,
money.
nobody's going to stay there. So
Exactly. Yeah, you can lose a lot of money very
you get a
quickly.
bad rep, and you'll be sitting there by yourself.
A few bad Google reviews can really start to tank you, unfortunately. If you have a poor social media presence, um, even if it's just like kind of non-existent social media presence, and if your website's hard to find, that's all stuff that affects. And when I do underwriting, this is the last thing I'll say. When I do underwriting, I'll go through spreadsheets. Yes, I go through all their T12s and their docs and all of that. But I really try to look at the holistic view of the park and what do you look like to the outside world? So your social media, your website, is your website good, bad? Is it look hokey? Is it, cutting edge, whatever? So how do you look to the outside world? What things do you have in place already that are good? And then what kind of value adds can we bring to the property that will increase its value? And if all of those things are manageable for us as for me as an investor, as an underwriter to be able to say, hey, here's a clear trajectory to getting to from 875 to 1.5 million in value, then let's go. I will be right there with you every step of the way to make sure that this is a property that we can get taken down and have us, help this seller with whatever that they're trying to do, and then own a property that really can be a beneficial piece in your portfolio. Um, so yeah, that's that's kind of my approach. I know there's a lot more with specific numbers and number crunching and spreadsheets and stuff, as I said, but I like looking at stuff as a holistic view because it really gives you a clear picture of the direction you can go with your numbers.
Awesome.
Yeah. Any questions?
I think we kind of went through most of it as
Is
I was
there?
going through
Can
it.
you hear me?
Yes.
What you got, Angel?
Oh, I was just wondering. So, like, if per se, I'm not personally looking. I was just wondering, if somebody were to like want to start getting into property like that, but they don't know what to look for before they even bring it to an underwriter, are there certain things that they should say, like, or certain things that they should look for to know that it's even worth bringing to you?
Yeah. Yeah,
That
that's
makes
a
sense.
great, yeah, no, it's a great question. So let's go back to this. I would say that if they're going to look to, it's a twofold question. If you're looking to buy for themselves, I would highly, highly encourage somebody who's never been in the RV park space to get with somebody who actually owns a park and talk with them about their buy box and the specific things that they want. So, um, for instance, I know of a couple of investors that they only buy RV parks that are 50 pads or more, and it has to have a water feature of some kind, whether it's a small pond or it's on a lake or something that has a water amenity to it. And then they also want it to be something that has at least a 10% cap rate, right? So that's one type of investor. There are others that will say, we'll buy anything over 10 pads, and we want it to be as much of a value add proposition as possible so that we can make the park our own. So in somebody who's new, you really have to narrow down what you want in a park. And that really takes, I think, talking with people who are already either own parks or have been looking at parks for a long time. And then from there, I would say if you can show, or if you can see from, even if it's an offering memorandum, that's fine, but at least a 10% cap rate. I mean, if it's a nine, it still can be worthwhile to look at. I just don't recommend people going after stuff that's, 6, 7, 8% cap rates just because um, you're running into a lot. Your margin gets a lot thinner for error, to where
So do
you,
properties like that automatically come with I guess per se, like they give you the cap rate or what they
yeah,
say
they'll,
it is?
yep, they'll tell you what the cap rate is, and even if they don't tell you directly, they should have something to where you'll see like the net operating income. And so if you can see the NOI, like I said earlier, it's a, simple math to be able to say NOI divided by purchase price gives you your cap rate. Um, so what's interesting here too, like they project 92,000, right? For the first 6 months of the year, they only made 37,000. So if we project that out and just double it for the next 6 months, 37, 337.14
74?
times two. Oops. Yeah, you're at about 74,000, right? Um, yeah, 74.6. So that's way lower than this 92.5 that they're saying is projected. So it's like worthwhile then to dig deeper into those numbers and say, why are you going to make almost $60,000 in the next 6 months comparative to the first 6 months that only made 37? So as an investor,
Right.
looking that's even like a first red flag when you're looking at an OM or whatever to say, that seems weird. You have this big number, but this happened here. So those are just a couple things to be looking at.
Even if there was a
Go,
big event or whatever, I mean, they're already 92% full. So even if there's a bigger event going on, you're only going to be so full. So,
you're only going to have, I mean, you have two slots available,
right.
right? That's
So what if
not
you
good.
were, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
What if you weren't going to buy it and maybe you ran across one that somebody was selling, but you know investors that might be interested, but you don't know. They don't really have a specific, but they said they want RV park, and some you
Hmm.
run across one, but you don't know if it's worth it. How? I mean, would you basically tell the same way if it's worth bringing it to them?
So you could do one of two things. I mean, it depends on your relationship with the buyer, right? If you know investors that they're looking at RV parks, it's maybe not going to be for you, but they've asked you to send them parks, then I would say don't go sending them everything that maybe crosses your plate. But if it's something that even at a quick glance you say the numbers look pretty solid as far as, like I said, cap rate. I even if you want to do a quick search in the area to say what are the maybe the five closest parks and their rates, and to see if the rates from the park that you're looking at match, or maybe they're too low. Well, then that's a, I mean, if they're too low, that's a great green light for you to say, easy opportunity to not even spend any money. We can just raise rent. And that'll increase the income of the property. So if you have that
But
kind of
they
relationship,
might not be
though,
in as good a shape either, though. I mean, they
it
might be
might
getting
not be.
lower rates because they got potholes in the road or something. Who knows?
True, 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 true. Yes. So yeah, there are caveats to that, most definitely. Um, but you can, I mean, if you've got a good relationship with the seller, or the buyers, you could just send them the park. Or if you want a second set of eyes to look at the park, then you can send that to somebody like myself that can run over the numbers with you. Um, and that is a service that I will offer to people, that if they say, "Hey, man, I don't know if this is even worth sending to my buyers. Can you just take a look at it for me, please?" And yes, we can have that conversation. That's a quick, maybe 20-minute phone call. Take a quick look at the numbers, say, yes, I think for any buyer this would be worthwhile, or given the buy box that your buyers have, I would maybe pass on this one, and here's why. Um, that's yeah, so yeah, I mean, if you're not going to buy it, you still have a lot of options to be able to potentially push it forward, but it still need to make sure that it's a good, worthwhile investment.
So do you just do commercial and businesses and stuff like that?
So I'll do commercial. I'm actually just getting into doing businesses this year, but I'll also do single family, multifamily. Um, I had somebody recently that's asked me to start potentially looking at hotels. Uh, each asset type has their own unique features that you need to be aware of. Um, so though you can do single family, that doesn't mean you can do multifamily or do it well for that matter. And doing multifamily well doesn't mean you can do RV parks or commercial. I don't touch right now, at least. I don't touch light industrial or warehousing or office buildings or anything like that because that's just not my space. Um, but I'm starting to get into businesses with working with a group that's actively buying businesses and they need somebody who can run the books for them and make sure that it's a viable opportunity.
So
Awesome.
if you say somebody was like terrible, terrible with numbers, they just don't even want to try, they don't want to do it, and but
Yeah.
they tell you kind of along the lines what they want, would you
Uh-huh.
be able to tell them basically what they could go look for? Say somebody wanted a duplex, and that's all they could tell you.
Hmm.
And then maybe they don't want to put nothing down. I don't know the circumstances, but whatever.
Sure.
Would you be able to tell them what to look for as far as like a price and the selling price and going off of any like could like that? I don't
Yeah, potentially.
And there's a basic,
Uh, I
take a
mean,
first.
it would depend on the market that they want to look in. If they just say, "Hey, I want a duplex in America," well then, uh,
They're not
that's
too
a
serious. They don't know what they're looking for.
yeah, they have no idea. And
well,
that
there's
that
10.
say that again?
Oh, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they just don't know what they're looking for. But if I say, hey, I'm looking for a duplex in Memphis, Tennessee, but I don't know what duplexes go for, and I don't know what kind of rent rates to look for, and I don't know what areas to look in. Um, that's not exactly how I normally approach things, but if somebody were to come to me and say, I I want to pay for some help to clarify where I'm looking because I this is what I want, but I don't know how to get there, then sure, yeah, we can have that conversation. We can that can be something that we walk through and I can say, um, I use Memphis as an example. I've never been to Memphis. I don't really know anything about Memphis other than it has high crime rates. But I can do the
Great
research,
choice.
right? I can do the research with and for somebody to say, generally speaking, you could be looking at this much money, this type of rent. So then I would put it on the investor to say, here are some basic numbers for you. Now go do your search for actual properties that you think you would like to buy. And once you've found something, then you can come back to me and we can have that conversation. Because I'm not going to go bird dog properties for you. I'm not going to go find stuff and then say, hey, I underwrote this for you. Now you can go buy it. Um, if I give you some clear context of what you could be looking for, then it would be on the investor to say, go go get it. Um, so
Right.
yeah.
In your opinion, what do you think would be a good, say somebody was going to house hack a duplex or a triplex, what would be a good return if they were house hacking it and just renting out the other half? Like what should they make off of something like that?
Oh man, that totally depends on the market too. I mean, you could
Right.
be, it really depends. I mean, some markets you might be able to say you've got a $1,500 mortgage, but rent rates are really high in your area. You could be able to say, between two units, um, for argument's sake, let's say you pull in 2,500, you pull in 1,250 per unit. Well, now you're pulling in $1,000 a month extra. That's really, 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 really solid. But if you've got a duplex your house hacking and then maybe, or if you live on one side and rent out the other, well, then you could be at a place where you're just breaking even and that other side is paying your mortgage. That's amazing. Um,
Still
I
living
mean,
for free.
Is that
you're
good,
living,
or do you want to always make on top of that?
no, if you can be at, I think if you can be at a place where you are quite literally living for free, that's incredible. But at the same time, if your mortgage is 1,500 and what the top rent you can get for one unit in your duplex is 1,250, you're still only paying 250 a month in mortgage payment as opposed to paying 1,500, right? So any way that you
That's
can
true, yeah.
drop your overall cost, I'm man, my ears start to perk up and say, "Whoa, that's interesting. I want to look at that." Because then you're saving money while your property is increasing in value. You're living it somewhere that you're not spending a ton of money on.
Tax
If
write-offs, all that.
you get a tax write-off, you're getting depreciation. I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. So like
Oh
the
wow.
house, yeah, I think there's the house hack model where you go buy a duplex or a triplex, you live in one, you rent out the others. Um, it's a slower way to scale your portfolio and income and all of that, but it is a really steady, healthy way to, if you can do it. I mean, if you don't have a whole lot of encumbrances with pets or, young kids or something like that, then it's a really good way to uh, position yourself to where now you own a piece of property and you've got somebody else that's basically paying your mortgage and you've got then all the other benefits of being a homeowner and having you're find good renters, of course. Um, but that extra 200, 300, 5, 1,000, whatever you're getting a month for not paying on your mortgage, go put that towards another property or put that into the current property to increase its value. So
Hmm.
yeah.
That's a good way. Thank you. Yeah. Right on.
And look for the next one
Yeah.
so that you can rent out the other half as you move up to another house.
Right.
You buy
Yeah.
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
duplex
Yeah.
someplace
Yeah.
and then you have another place. Yeah.
Yeah, that was for a long time. I don't think it is anymore, but that was for a long time. Chris Crone, another real estate guru type guy, that was like his pitch was just go buy a house,
It's awesome.
live in it for 2 years, house hack it, and then go buy another one, and then do it again, and go buy another one, and do it again, and go buy another. So then in, 10 years, you've got five, six houses that you've bought, and now you've got renters in, and you've got all this extra equity and all that that's growing. It's a longer
It's
play.
a crazy little idea, Junior.
Yeah, it's good. So I mean, it's a longer play, but it's a great way to grow, I think, long-term equity and long-term stability. So yeah.
Right on.
Thanks, Bill.
Appreciate it, David.
I
Yeah.
What
hope
kind
this
Thank
was
you.
helpful.
where's your, oh yeah, definitely was helpful. What's your contact stuff you want to tell people that where we can get hold of you in case we have
Sure.
somebody who wants to get some help?
Yeah, so you can one find me on Facebook. I know I have the most basic name on the planet as David Roberts, but there's a lot of us. But hey, David Roberts in Reno, Nevada. Should be easy to find, hopefully. You can email me at forwillenterprises@gmail.com. So it's FORWILL enterprises@gmail.com. For Will, it's one word. It's actually based on our son, for William. Um, it's why we started doing real estate was for our kid and now kids. Um, so yeah, forwillenterprises@gmail.com or shoot me a text 425-223-8410. It's 425-223-8410. It's a Bellevue, Washington area code. But I'm on Facebook a lot just because of other investors and conversations and stuff. So I respond pretty quickly there. Email, same thing, pretty quickly. If I get a phone call from somebody I don't know, I am more than likely going to decline. So a text
I should
message
always
with,
send a text first before you call somebody anyway, because
yeah,
I get
send me
30
a
of them a day, it
text
seems like. I just let them
with your
ride.
name, with your
Right.
name.
I get a lot of
I'm
them
with
is like,
you.
hello, and you don't have any idea who they are. So yeah, make sure you tell who your name is and what you're,
Exactly.
like a basic, like I need some help with, XC as opposed to, nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, if anybody needs some help, uh, I charge for my time and my services. That's a conversation we can have, when that somebody wants to reach out. But it's also something like I'm not, if you're gonna text me or call me or something like I'm not gonna charge you for that. But if we're gonna engage in business together, it's a service. But I'm here to help. I want to help people get stuff, get good properties, stay away from bad properties, and go make oodles and oodles of money. Because then you can go do all the other things in life that you want to do. So.